rocky bank. Look at that right there. And on the steeper side, you got a diversity. There's a lay down tree. You guys can see that lay down tree right there. And this is high percentage areas right there. And then on the other side of it, you've got the flatter areas like this, the gravel bars, mud banks, flat type of areas. And throughout a river system, guys, you got sections where the river is straight, and then where it makes bends and that type of stuff. So it's just typical riverine type of an area. This is sort of like what most lakes are before they got impounded. So here's what you want to look for. First of all, high percentage area is your channel banks over there. This type of area that you can see right here, this is going to be your key areas when you're fishing a river. They're good all year long, depending upon the time of the year. There's a lot of different techniques that I'll talk about here in a second. And then generally, the flatter areas like this are going to be better, when the water's warmer. So say, for example, see this lay down tree right here in the water. This type of structure on the flat side can be really, really good anytime that water's over 75 degrees, especially if you have off-colored water, which most of these river sections do. And then also, there's a lot of other little unique features in most rivers. Like you can see right there, there's a little cut going into the river. That's always a high percentage area. Another thing about it is these mouth of these sloughs right here. You can see the opening of that slough. They can be really good. Depending upon the water level, like the flooded willows can be good there. So you sort of have to mix it up, depending upon the time of the year. But man, this is the type of area I look for right there. So let's talk a little bit about how you want to fish and how you want to approach a river section. It depends upon the time of the year and the water temperature. Most of the time, these are not good at winter areas. Unless you have like some really clear water and some big spotted bass in the lake, usually not that good in the winter time because, this is shallower water up here and they just don't bite as good. Personally, I like to fish these type of river areas anytime that water's over like 55 degrees. It seems like it gets better during that situation. I'll start when the water's 55 degrees on those steep banks up there. I'll throw a jerkbait and a crankbait. That's my main two things. Sometimes I'll pitch a jig. A jig can be really good once that water temperature starts to get about 60. But those fish will live from about March until, December on those steep banks there. A lot of it just depends on, like I said, the water clarity and the water depth and water level at the time that you're going to fish. But there's a diversity of things that can work, guys. I've caught them on top waters, like I said, different type of crankbaits, flipping and pitching stuff, spinner baits, chatter baits, just about like anything else. But you really just sort of have to key in on the bait. That's one of the things I found about these river systems is these bass are very bait sensitive. There's a